It's not often I get a musical interlude to come up on and speak. Certainly not in Parliament anyway. It's normally heckling rather than a fanfare. So thank you very much indeed, Vanessa, for that kind introduction and for inviting me to address this diverse, distinguished and truly global audience. I'm very appreciative of the work that you all do individually and what you are collectively seeking to achieve together. Thank you to Omar and the wider GEFI, we had a bit of debate there at the photograph, for all the team for what you do, establishing this must-attend summit and rooting it so firmly here in Scotland, promoting global dialogue around the development of ethical finance and for supporting Scotland's ambition to be a truly competitive global centre for green and sustainable financial services. My thanks also to Judith Cruikshank and her team here at RBS for hosting this summit at the magnificent Goulburn campus. I note from the outset that the theme of this year's summit is ESG, emergency from promises to solutions. Much was promised by many at Glasgow's COP26, which demonstrated that governments and the financial sector were serious about tackling climate change, with roughly 40% of global private finance committed to net zero through the Glasgow Financial Alliance for Net Zero. And as we approach COP28, it is essential that we keep driving this agenda forward. So I'm delighted to see such a lively summit programme bringing together delegates and distinguished speakers to really focus on what matters: delivery, action and progress. For the world to meet the challenge of tackling climate change, we need to collaborate and take individual responsibility for the role that we each play. And I can assure you that the Scottish Government is committed to playing its full part, as the announcements from the First Minister in New York's Climate Week hopefully demonstrate. While we are rightly proud of the progress we have made in Scotland on our journey to net zero, we know there is more to do. This is a time for action and will continue to rise to this challenge, remaining open and honest with the people of Scotland about the steps we must all take and the support we will offer on this crucial journey. At COP26, we stressed that Scotland, as a country which helped lead the world into the Industrial Revolution, we would help lead the world towards a net zero future. So moving from the legacy of Glasgow and COP26, it is my delight on behalf of the Scottish Government to welcome you all to our magnificent capital city of Edinburgh. A particular warm welcome to those of you who have travelled from other parts of the United Kingdom and Europe and indeed elsewhere in the world to be here this week. In many ways, Edinburgh is the perfect stage for a summit dealing with the issues of ethical and sustainable finance. This city has been the hub of thought and inquiry since the Scottish Enlightenment. And it is, of course, an established global financial centre built on a history of innovation, prudence, reliability and trust. But it is also a city with a firm eye to a more sustainable future too. And in truth, I know I'm obviously going to be biased here, but Scotland really is the perfect home for this annual summit. That would be true in any year with our strong financial credentials, financial services industry and net zero leadership. But that sentiment applies even more profoundly this year, which is the tercentenary year of Adam Smith. Adam Smith was a man whose life, work and legacy is often quoted and perhaps even more often misunderstood. As we meet today, I encourage you to remember that Smith's analysis was rooted in a wider vision of society. He argued that governments are valued only in proportion as they tend to promote the happiness of those who live under them. And so it is in that tradition that we in Scotland are seeking to build a well-being economy, an economy which serves the collective well-being of current and future generations, which operates within safe environmental limits, and in which all our people can live in comfort in safety and, as Smith set out, with happiness. And a just transition towards a net zero wellbeing economy cannot be captured in statistics and numbers. It is instead a bold vision for our people, our ecosystems and our shared future. Scotland has the people and resources to adapt and thrive to the net zero age, and by seizing the economic opportunities the transition to net zero presents, we can deliver on the promise of building a true wellbeing economy. Our net zero and wellbeing economy ambitions are inextricably linked. We know the costs of transition to a net zero economy are lowest and the opportunities greatest with early and well-managed action. So with Scotland's new green industrial strategy in formation, we will help business and investors, ensuring the people of Scotland can share in the enormous economic opportunities of the global transition to net zero. And it is appropriate, given the audience here today, to recognise that public sector investment alone will not be enough to respond to the challenge we face in addressing the climate emergency. Investors and institutions, like those in the room, are increasingly looking to achieve social and environmental benefit in addition to a commercial return. I hope that we can show you, both now and in the future, how Scotland can play a key role as a financial centre and as a location for responsible investment in your investment decisions. A key focus in the year ahead is to work across the public and private sectors to drive forward agreed recommendations from the First Minister's Investor Panel on how we attract private investment for large-scale infrastructure projects and use public spending more effectively to crowd in private capital. And we know that for deals to be done, for finance to flow and net zero to be achieved, we need a financial system ready for the task. That is why I'm looking forward to receiving the final recommendations early next year of Scotland's Task Force for Green and Sustainable Financial Services, which will provide a clear route map for Scotland, one of the world's oldest financial centres, to seize the opportunities presented by the transition to the net zero economy. We know that behind every investment, every transaction, sits a team of financial, legal, data and accountancy experts moving deals through to completion. This presents a huge opportunity for an established financial sector centre like Scotland if we are bold enough and ready to grab the opportunity. So to conclude, given our ambition, our history, and as you'll discover at Edinburgh Castle tonight, I hope, our hospitality, there is really no better place to debate and discuss these issues. We have the natural assets, the talent, infrastructure, and the determination to be the place that not only convenes the conversation, but which transacts the deal and seizes the opportunity too. But we do it for a bigger cause, for the sake of our prosperity, yes, but also for our planet, our people, and our collective well-being. Thank you very much indeed.